position or a title, just because someone has pastor by their name or leader by their name or minister by their name, that doesn't mean anything. And the truth of the matter is, sometimes we can think leadership is about finding the right position, or we think leadership is about having the right title, or we think leadership is about getting the corner office. And I'm going to tell you this, so many people land the position, so many people get the title, and so many people get the placement, and they have nothing to say, and they're not leading. Okay? And I can tell you this, if we are more worried about, you want to say, what's the phrase of the day? I'm going to give you the word of the day in a minute, but here's the phrase of the day. If we are more worried about being someone of importance, we will never accomplish anything of importance. Let me just rerun that. If we're more worried about being someone of importance, if we're more worried about having a title, if we're more worried about having an office, if we're more worried about having a position, if we're more worried about being somebody of importance and of power, we will never accomplish anything, okay, of importance. Why is that? A lot of you guys have probably seen this, but I want to make sure to bring it out here, and I'm just going to ask somebody for some help. Come on up, Wayne. I'm going to ask you a question. Some of you guys have seen kind of the spoon illustration. Here's what I want you to do. We can't do this. I don't have 160 spoons to hand out. Just look in that area of the spoon. You can hold it. Okay. Tell me what you see. What reflection do you see when you look into the spoon?
Upside down reflection.
Okay, an upside down of what? What's reflecting of himself. All right, now do me a favor. Now turn that spoon around. Now what do you see?
Upright.
Okay. Think about this for a minute. It's a simple illustration. To be honest with you, you need to go home and do this when you're watching your wife, when you're washing the dishes for your wife, okay? When you wash your wife. Hey, Tim Luke told us to wash and sanctify when you're washing the word. So I'm just going right off his Bible. But when you're washing the dishes for your wife,
we need to go back to last week.
That's right. I think we need to. Pick up a spoon, look at it. Here's the thing. The interesting thing is when you pick up that spoon and it's wrapped towards you, when that curve is wrapped towards you, when everything's wrapped around you and it's all about you, you want me to tell you what you find? Everything's upside down, isn't it? But when you flip that around and you realize that life, we're really placed here to serve other people and to be about other people. Okay, we turn that around, all of a sudden we change our life, and it's not about being important, it's not about me being important, everybody thinking I'm important, and I've got the title, and I've got the position, I've got the office, and I've got the power, and I'm the boss. But it's more about, you know what? I'm not really the boss, I'm the servant. You say, man, where do we learn that? It's actually right out of Scripture. I want to show you 3 quick scriptures. The first one's in Matthew chapter 20, the last part of verse 26, and I'm just going to read them quickly. It says this. But whoever would be great among you must be your servant, and whoever would be first among you must be your slave, even as the Son of Man came not to be served, but to serve, and to give his life as a ransom for many. Man, we see that in the example of Jesus Christ. What did he come here to do? He tells us. He didn't come here to be king, did he? Even his disciples says, man, when are you going to set up your kingdom? When are you going to rule? When are you going to be in charge? And what's his response? That's not what I came here for. I came here to serve. And leadership and serving. And leadership is about serving people and leading people. Luke chapter 22, we're going to read in verse 26 again. But not so with you. Rather let the greatest among you become as the youngest, and the leader as one who serves. For who is the greater, one who reclines at the table or one who serves? Is it not the one who reclines at the table? But I am among you as the one who serves. Jesus came to serve. I mean, we see the greatest example of that as he's marching to death, becoming the ultimate servant to the cross. And what do we know that he did? Right before that, he gathers his disciples together, and he gets down with a bowl and with some water and with a rag, and he begins to wash their feet. And then shortly after he washes their feet, he says this to them. He says, if I then, your Lord and teacher, have washed your feet, you also ought to wash one another's feet. For I've given you an example that you should do just as I've done to you. You know what? Jesus tells us that almost something very similar somewhere else. Where is it? In communion. Where he says, you know what? Do this in remembrance of me. What does Jesus say here? Do this as an example I've set for you. Do this just as I've done. And he sends us out to become servants to other people. Okay? I'm telling you this. If you want to know what it means to lead, and the word of the week is to serve. If you want to be a leader and you want to lead, you have to become a servant and you have to serve. You have to be willing to put other people's priorities. Man, this comes straight out of Philippians chapter 2. It's just an incredible passage where it talks about the ultimate servanthood as Jesus marched to the cross. He put on humanity and he marched to the cross. And it tells us to put others' interests greater than our own and to become servants. And let me tell you something, okay? What's going to make you a leader in the people around you and the people's lives around you is going to be your service to them. The way you're willing to put down your own selfishness, the way you're willing to put down your own needs, your own desires, your own wants, your own needs for even gratification of the title and the position, and put all that down and say, you know what? I've just come here to serve. You can start doing that at home. And what would it be like for you as the father to set the example of servanthood, not only with your wife, which we're actually supposed to, the example for us is Jesus Christ. The way he loves us and the way he served us is the way, Tim Luke's already talked about that a lot tonight, is the way we're to serve our wife. I mean, even with our children, is to really become humble and serve them and become a servant to our family. But not only are we talking about home, man, at work. You may be the boss. Man, what would it look like for the boss to come in and say, you know what, I'm the boss around here, and there's certain things that I'm going to make a call, and that's the way it's going to be. But even though I can make that call, I'm still going to be a servant to you. And I'm still going to care for you as an employee. Maybe you're not the boss. Maybe you are the employee. But it's looking to your boss and saying, man, you know what, I want to be a good employee and serve, and understanding that you are there. And I can tell you this, Christians have a terrible reputation in the workplace. They just do. A lot of times Christians are known as not the best workers. Man, that should not happen. If you're the Christian on your team at work, people should look at you and say, man, that is not the one who shares the gospel the most, although that's not a bad thing. But man, I've heard stories of bosses that said, you know what? The problem with that lady right there is she wants to share the gospel more than she wants to do her job. I mean, that should never be said by an employer. You should set the example in servanthood, and not only being a good employee, but also being a good coworker and serving the people around you. Truth of the matter is, our goal should simply be this. Everywhere we go, we should do our best to outserve whoever's around us. At church, at home, at work, with our friends, with our extended family, with our parents, with our sisters and our brothers. Put down all the competition and everything. Man, that stuff still exists as you get older, doesn't it? All that family tension. Man, put all that down. You become the servant. Start serving your parents. Start serving your in-laws. Start serving these people that God's placed around you, and God will give you an opportunity to lead them and to share the good news of the gospel with them. And that's really what leadership's all about. Word of the day is serve. Okay? We really appreciate you guys being